Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So today's another discussion piece video. It's just something that I've been thinking about. It was on my mind, mainly because I'm working on a game for the Intellivision that's going to be kind of a sequel to the Venture game. And while I was kind of plotting out how the game's going to work, one of the things that kept coming to my mind was, do I want to add a score to it? And then I thought, does the original Venture, this one, the original Venture, does it have a score? And I had to go back and actually look. I'm like, it does have a score, but I never paid attention to it. And then I started to wonder about that. Like, how many games have a score, like actually points, scoring points, that really are kind of either unnecessary or maybe nobody really cares. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes people do care because they have things like the high score challenge. Games like Donkey Kong, for instance. I mean, you're not going to... Well, you can play it for fun. I'd play it for fun. I don't really care what my score is in the end. But there are people who do play it for score, trying to maybe get on the scoreboards and all that stuff, the Twin Galaxies and stuff. There are people who do love playing for points. And I have seen people in... like Atari groups and stuff like that on Facebook, who are doing the score challenges, or they're posting their high scores, or even sometimes you get people who find a piece of paper that they had since they were a kid, where they scratch down their high scores in their favorite Atari game or something like that. But I'm kind of going at, like, on a different angle of how often do you actually do pay attention to the score? Now, of course, it's going to depend on the game. I mean, there's some games like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, for instance. I'm pretty certain there's no score in there. It's just, can you beat all the opponents, get to Mike Tyson? If you beat him, yay. So if you're going to do a high score challenge, how would you even pull that off with a game like Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, right? You could do it on time, and that's a thing some people do. They do that, and there's games like Grand Prix where scoring is the time. So at the end of the game, it's about the time. It's not necessarily points or anything else. Same with games like Ghostbusters. This is not really a scoring game, but you're making money. So I guess in the end, the money is your score. That type of idea. But of course, there are the other games that are only about scoring, like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man. That's pretty much it. I mean, otherwise you're just eating dots and then you start again. You're eating dots and then you start again. But what about games like Super Mario Bros. 2? Now, obviously, the first Super Mario Bros. Was a completely different style of game. It had a scoring system to it. And, frankly, I think the only time I really paid attention to that was, I believe when you get certain score... actually... Maybe I'm thinking of money now. Maybe I'm thinking of coins. But I really never paid attention. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. I never really paid attention. So it never bothered me that games like Super Mario 2 didn't have one. Again, I'm not really talking about the people who do the high score challenges. And frankly, again, another game that you couldn't pull... Well, I don't know. How could you pull that off with this game? Now, I do know that this is not the original Super Mario Brothers that we should have got to the market. This is Doki Doki Panic reskinned. I think everybody pretty much who plays retro games knows that by now. But other games like even this one, Zelda, Legend of Zelda. Well, this is Link. This is the sequel. But you don't really care about a score at this point. You're just trying to beat the game. You're just trying to get to the end of the game. If it had a score, would you even pay attention to it? Other than if getting a certain amount of points would give you something in return, like free man or free weapon or free whatever, give you extra magic points, whatever, then it might make sense. But this game, it's all about, building up the experience points, building up all the, the little meters they got, the magic meter. There's no scoring. Like, you're just trying to get to the end. You're just trying to win the game. And whenever I play this, that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about scores and stuff like that. So there's a lot of games, and even Castlevania games. For the longest time, I didn't even know there was a score. I don't think I've ever paid attention to it. And, Simon's Quest. for me, when I play Simon's Quest, it's all about trying to get through the game, trying to remember all the cryptic stuff that you have to do, trying to remember where to go for certain things, certain equipment, money and all that stuff. If there's a score, I didn't pay attention to it. I don't even know if there is a score in this one now that I think about it. Even the first one, the Castlevania game, the first Castlevania game, apparently there's a score, and I've never paid attention to it. I don't care what the score is. And, you know, if you're going for those items and stuff, that's all they do, right? You got those hidden items you can find that are hidden in the wall, or when you stand on a certain place. But I think with Castlevania, it makes sense because you do get extra lives and stuff based on your score. So that would probably be the only thing that I would be concerned about is, you know, how much do I need to get before I can get an extra life? You know, that kind of stuff. But other than that, I don't think I've ever once written down my score on any game that I've ever played. You know, maybe it might make sense if you're playing against a friend, you know, if you're both trying to see who's better at a game, I guess. Of course, I'm going to have to leave out all the sports titles because, I mean, that the concept of a sports title is to score. I mean, you play hockey and stuff as who can get the most, you know, goals. So we can't really throw, you know, sports in there and, you know, some of the other types of games like poker and blackjack and, you know, well, that could be money, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, there's some games where obviously the score is moot point, but it's just interesting how there's so many games like this that I don't know. Maybe I'm different. Maybe you're different. Maybe you always paid attention to the score and you love the score and you wrote it down and you kept a log, kept a journal. You joined the high score challenges. But for me, I never thought about it. It's not something that's been on my head. Even games like I said with Donkey Kong, I love playing Donkey Kong, but I just like to play it to see how long I can play it. I don't really at the end go, oh yeah, look at that score. But maybe that's just me. But like I said, going back to the beginning of this conversation, I was really considering it for my new game that I'm working on. Do I need to add a score system? Does it even make any sense? Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because the original venture, your goal was to go into the room, get the treasure, get out. And I was paying attention to how the scoring was working. So basically, you go in there, you shoot the bad guys, you get 100 points per bad guy, and then you get the treasure, you leave the room, and then you get an extra 200 points. And so that's how it was working on the first level anyways. I didn't see if it incremented and increased and stuff like that. But that basically was like, okay, so every room you're always going to get 3 monsters. You're always going to get 3, so you can get exactly 300 points. You're going to get the treasure, so you can get another 200. So it just seems kind of pointless. Pointless. But anyway, yeah, always for me it was like, can I complete the game? Can I get through all the levels? Can I get this? And, you know, maybe I would even try and do it as fast as I can, and that might be fun for me. But a lot of the times I would just play, get through the 3 levels, and then that was about as much fun for me as I could take, and then I turn it off and go into something else. But for my game that I'm working on, I want it to be more like a Zelda-style game, an actual quest, where you go through and you have to find items, you know, just like Adventure on Atari and all that. You got to go find the items, you have to find the keys and all that stuff, and you're trying to save somebody at the end. So really, does the score system even make sense for that type of game? You know, I can add one in there, but what would be the point? Would it be to generate enough points to get something out of it? Maybe a secret passage will open up. And the other thing is too, the game I'm creating, it's going to have save, so you can save your progress, right? And I don't know, how is points and stuff going to work there? You could start and stop the game, and then you know, oh, I don't like the way I'm going on this one, so I'm going to go back. You know, that type of thing. So maybe not. I don't know. But that's why I wanted to throw this out there. It's more like a personal question. I think a lot of people have their own opinion on it, whether they're going to pay attention to scoring or not, or that if that's the only reason why they play video games is to generate a high score. If you're one of those people that could actually sit there for 5 to 10 hours playing the same game over, or the same screen or whatever, generating points like some of these Atari games have, where it's like a single screen action shooter type of game, or Space Invaders or whatever. That's kind of what I wanted to get at. Anyways, throw your comments down below. I always like to hear what you have to say. Let me know what you think. Should my game include a score? Should I even bother with it? Or should I just X the score and maybe put a timer on there? Maybe see if you complete the game. Maybe you can go back and try and complete it faster. I don't know. Anyways, let me know what you think. Throw some comments down below. Hope you subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.